Alright here people, so we just came in the entrance and now we are here. So this is the first time standing in front of a real pyramid of any sort. So anyways, I don't know what we're doing next, but this is like the world's biggest gravel pit. And yeah, so anyways, next year is going to be the Pyramid Boogie when I get my B license and my own skydiving rig. So we'll be up there at 15,000 feet and jumping out of the airplane and landing somewhere over there. But anyways, that's next year, and this year we're gonna go do this stuff. Alright, so we're just standing around here. Found some cool shit. Kind of a geode rock. Anyways, interesting. Different rocks than at home by a long shot. Alright, so we are just before the entrance of the first pyramid, and so again we have these megalithic blocks here on the ground. They are polygonal, whatever you want to call them. Super tight fit, random angles. Interesting as a base, and then some bedrock over there. No joints you can see, but we can see there has been things cut away, or at least something abrasively cut. So another point is, where did all the blocks come from? Well, they say that Giza is the mine, so just something to think about. Alright, so we're climbing up to the entrance. I don't think we're actually going in. The slope is very steep, much more than a 45. So it's a good ways up there, especially considering how much material is inside. Looking back down at the base, definitely looks like there was something in this area before, other than just the flat plateau. Why are those polygonal blocks there is kind of like what I'm saying. Just, I don't know, observing, interesting. Alright, so I just came down the little path here, and then just standing here on the bedrock again. Just noticed one of these sort of cut marks here. Why, I guess is my question, are we leaving tool marks like that? I don't understand why we need these polygonal blocks on top of the bedrock when we could have just smoothed that out and put a layer of plaster over it. And then this is another interesting polygonal block here with this little cutout. Very interesting. Again, why do we need these polygonal blocks like this? Alright, so a couple more observations. Just the drill holes here are quite interesting. So if we watch one of the Mike Haddock videos, he says that these drill holes could be for scaffolding, is what he thought they were for. It would be interesting to just see those mapped out from an overhead plan view. And then, so just visually standing back, we can see how we have that sort of smaller triangle shape to it, very noticeable difference. And then standing much farther back, we can easily see like different stages of construction, where there's more coarse blocks and more fine blocks. Like the coarser ones, we can see are bigger and have sustained better, whereas the smaller blocks are much more chipped away. Alright, so still standing in front here, just looking at more of these polygonal stones. Just mainly looking at the joinery from a craftsmanship and tradesman point of view. So the seams are pretty much hairline tight. We do see it chipped away over time from sand and wind and people. And then of course we go to here, that used to be a joint. Maybe this rock was there, but we can see that it did not stand up the test of time. It's been quite rough now, quite chipped away. So that's kind of interesting. And same thing with this side. I don't know if those two blocks went together, but there they are. So quite interesting here. Let's see if we can see anything. Yeah, that's pretty much hairline tight right there. So it is certainly possible to do that by hand. It's just going to take a hell of a lot of time. Look at these. Let's just look at this. I mean, you could just do this with simple wood tools and like bevel gauges and whatnot, and just tape measure and guess and check. But it is going to take a very long time. Like, what is the purpose of having a joint like that? So, quite interesting. Definitely glad to be here from the standpoint of a craftsman and a tradesman. So here we have it, guys. See if we can find anything else cool. Alright, so our group is now on the move, and one last thing I observed is we have the rough bedrock here, and then it transitions to smooth bedrock piled up with the polygonal stones. So what is the purpose of leaving that, and why did we need to put the polygonal stones here? I'm not seeing any significance to that, but I think a lot of it might have had to do with this would be all covered with lush green dirt at one point, and that is just simply not here anymore. But it's definitely, from a patio standpoint, you can definitely see this would be a lot nicer when it was all flat and smooth. Alright, so we just came from that side and now we're on the east side. People were calling this the saw pit or the boat pit. Not quite seeing that. If you did want to bury a boat, I'd say you could do it. As far as a saw pit, I think that's extremely unlikely because you have to get material in and out. And if you had a gigantic circular saw in there, you'd have to have men working, and they need to have room to move around and maintain the equipment. I don't see any reason why you'd have like a big gantry system with a huge circular saw. I don't understand that at all. You'd need to have a conveyor system with rollers. It does kind of have a half-pipe slope to it. I don't see how that would be beneficial at all to having a saw pit, but I guess that's just my perspective from being a tradesman. Yeah, I don't see any reason why that would tell me that. I do see it as being somewhere to store something, since you have this wide open area. It could just be a junk pit for all I know. Alright, so there was that pit right there, and now we're on the east side. And here is some black, I think they said black andesite. Has not really stood the test of time, has lots of cracks and whatnot. Over here, one has completely been cracked up to the point where somebody decided to patch over it. That one more so. And if we go over here, a couple of these do have saw marks.
Also, we'll see the alongside the 720-ton seated figures.
Alright, so from this patio, there is quite a clear water channel running to this well right here, and it's definitely a well. I can easily see some of these drill holes being part of the scaffolding that would have a gantry system that would just keep bringing buckets of water up. It's about 50 feet. Alright, so looking from this side of the well, I'm seeing quite a bit of tool marks here, quite clearly. Oops, I'm not even sure where I'm at right now. Okay, that's just kind of interesting tool marks from my perspective. And then drill holes here, which would give you a place to put planking and then crosswise. Oops. So again, okay, so those drill holes, we can put heavy wood boards across there, and then perpendicular to that we can put more planks to give you a better place to stand on. The two sides, I'm thinking, might just be kind of a filtration type of system, retaining water on one side while the well fills up on the other side, that sort of a thing. Let the murkiness drop down to the deeper well and let the cleaner water that's skimmed off the top go in that side, perhaps. Again, I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm observing. Okay, so standing back at this channel here, there is the whatever shaft, and then have some interesting red granite blocks here. This one has clearly been socketed into this, and I'm not sure if this one is attached to anything. No, it's not even attached to anything, but perhaps these red granite chunks could have been socketed into these holes. I don't know what for, I can't even imagine. And we're kind of centered on the peak, but not exactly. So I have no idea what these are for, or what these sockets are for. Again, I'm just observing. I don't really know what any of this is for. Okay, so one explanation why the black rocks are here is because the water would come through and the black rocks would just simply heat it up and you'd have hot water. So that's kind of cool. I like that idea. It works for me. If you have hot water, or you always want it to be colder, and if you have cold water, you always want it to be hotter, right? So there we go, guys. That's a good explanation. Oh, here's another channel right here. Pretty cool pockets here on this rock. This is one of the vitrified rocks that Brian likes to talk about. Leaves some really nice tool marks. You can definitely see that being the same thing as like trying to cut a heavy piece of metal with a hacksaw, and you're like a 9th grader in high school and you're just trying to figure shit out. Plenty of marks, very, very fine increments of progression. But anyway, this was one of the rocks that Brian likes to talk about, where it got heated up on the surface and got sort of blown apart. Line right across there where it got hot, and of course everything above that is all chipped off and broken, and the lower half is a little bit more intact but still cracked.